What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, we have to talk about the future of Uncharted. This is something that I think this person is going to really get a talking to, I think, from Naughty Dog, because she basically confirmed that at some point, maybe not, the next stretch of games Naughty Dog makes, but over the next, at some point, they are going to be working on more Uncharted games. And so basically, this is Christina Marie Drake McBrady, and there's no way I'm saying that right, but long name. She announced on LinkedIn that she has joined the studio, she joined Naughty Dog as a primary recruiter. And so she described her, her job, and she said she is scouting for talent at every level, and it's special being able to be building future teams for not only new titles, but the legacy of Uncharted. Now, there you go. That pretty much, right? So she's saying, well, here's what I'm going to do at the company. I'm going to be recruiting people, right? I'm grabbing people, I'm pulling them in, and what are we going to do? Well, we're going to make new games and the legacy for Uncharted. Now, the thing is this, what's odd about, I guess, the wordage, and I don't know, if that's something that she's keenly aware of, considering this quote made it out there. And again, I don't think that's probably going to sit well, because that kind of does show their hand, right? And they wanted to keep those things a surprise. So I imagine that would be taken down at some point. But what's odd, right, is she says new games. Now, I guess new games, it depends on how you look at it. New games as in new IPs. So not The Last of Us, not Uncharted, but new, things they've never done before. So she's saying, and I'm saying this is a way you can look at it. She's saying, I'm going to be getting people, we're going to be making brand new games, new IPs, along with more Uncharted games, right? She throws in Uncharted. So you can look at it that way. I guess the other way you could look at it is, and this is odd though, literally new games, so any new game. So The Last of Us Part 3, Last of Us Multiplayer, whatever the Last of Us Remake, I guess, would technically be a new game, right? So those, and then the legacy of Uncharted, which is like, so a remaster, because you're preserving the legacy of Uncharted. So yeah, I hope that's not what she means, right? Because that's the least exciting of the two, you know what I mean? Where, I don't have anything against maybe making all of them playable in one collection, like on the PS5. We have the Nathan Drake collection. We have the Legacy of Thieves, I believe, right? Is what it's called, collection on PlayStation 5. So you have those, but you don't have them all together. And I guess if you are talking about like preserving basically the longevity, you're saying, well, we want these games to last forever. We want the legacy of Uncharted to last forever. And that could, again, very well could be what she means. What that could mean is an Uncharted 1 remake, an Uncharted 2 remake, Uncharted 3 remake, as the years go on, which you would start at 1. And it's not out of the realm of, and you know what, the more I think about it, not out of their own possibility, because what do we know that Sony Bend, right, the makers of Days Gone, remember, they were turned into, at some point, maybe briefly, maybe not, they were working on the Uncharted 1 remake. They wanted to do other things, they had pitched other things, but eventually they were working on an Uncharted 1 remake, and I posed the question, well, does that get passed off to somebody? And does it get passed off maybe to Naughty Dog? Now, I would say this, though. If the 3 games Naughty Dog is making right now is The Last of Us Multiplayer, Last of Us Remake, Uncharted 1 Remake, I'd be incredibly disappointed with the management of that studio, okay? I love Naughty Dog. I think they've made some of the most incredible things that we've had as gamers in quite some time, okay? Historically, with Uncharted, The Last of Us, etc. But to have those be your 3 games that you're working on, 2 of them being remakes that aren't really necessary, I would argue heavily, and then The Last of Us Multiplayer, which, could have loads of potential and would be very different than those other 2. I just don't think, that wouldn't sit well with me. And that's just my opinion. It's just some guy sitting in his living room making these videos, right? So I'm hoping that's not what you're recruiting for. I hope that's not that third mystery game that Neil Druckmann talks about and the studio talks about. I hope that's literally a new IP, or The Last of Us Part 3, I guess, but not 2 remakes at the same time of your older games. And so, yeah, that could be what she's talking about, to be quite honest with you. I don't know why you wouldn't want to make a Lost Legacy 2 with Chloe and Nadine, make a second one, and you could have Sam. I still think the Sam Sully idea is you can make a universe out of this. You can. It's just kind of waiting to happen. And Uncharted has to go beyond Nathan Drake. Not to say, Nathan Drake isn't important, because he is the most important, but you can stretch out a little bit and test it out. And, again, like, I do think it's a franchise that can become more than just Nate, but you have to actually do it. You can't sit there for, so, and, maybe that sounds too harsh, too critical, but I do hope for more like actual Uncharted games. Not necessarily Uncharted 5, maybe like an Uncharted blank, like, you know, constant spin-offs. So you do something with their daughter, right, which maybe would be more of like a mainline. You start to do that. You start to do mainline games, and you do like spin-off games, which is kind of what we've had so far. That's what I hope they do in the future. Again, I'm not, by the way, I'm not opposed to like the remakes of the first 3. It's just, I don't know, 2 and 3 still hold up really well in my opinion. 1 kind of, the thing I've always argued with 1 is 1 really doesn't have those huge action set pieces that 2, 3, 4, you know, literally all of them have. So to remake 1, you would have to add things. I don't think you could take like what they have, completely remake it, but just remake it. Like you literally make it again, updated. I don't really think that's necessary. I think you'd have to add stuff to kind of make, and if you're doing that, if you're going to add like 2, say, huge set piece, you know, events where you have to, you know, you're climbing and there's explosions and things are falling apart. If you're going to do that, just make a new game. You know what I mean? At that point, just come up with a new thing and throw those ideas that you have into that new game. I don't really think you have to insert them into Uncharted 1. So, you know, again, that's just my opinion. I'm very I mean, this quote, like seeing this online, thank you Push Square for publishing an article on it, it makes me happy. If you guys don't know, Uncharted is my favorite game franchise of all time. It'd be very tough love. It's always been tough love for that franchise, and I actually still think it's the best franchise ever created. I love it to death. So knowing one way or the other that we're going to get more Uncharted, right, is very exciting. I just hope, again, my personal preference is that we get new stuff, not remakes of old stuff. And that's just me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on so you know when all these videos go up. If you want to follow me anywhere else, all my social media is in the description below. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you guys on the next video.